News 14 Carolina, meteorologist Matthew East here with you. This is the Monday, November 30th edition of the Carolina Weather Video here. Of course, the final day of November, and a pretty wild weather week coming up for our region. A couple of storm systems, some very cold air at the end of the week. Let me get into it here on the video. First of all, today, there's the radar this morning. Band of rain extending from parts of Kentucky and Tennessee down into North Alabama and Mississippi. Some of that rain down in Alabama and Mississippi has been heavy this morning. And here's the setup. You have one trough moving into the Ohio and the Tennessee valleys. Remember last week as we were watching this storm system, some of the modeling began to pick up on the trough splitting. That is indeed what's happened. And that first trough will drive a cold front through late today. This, back in the desert southwest, is going to turn into a powerhouse storm system later this week. As far as today is concerned, though, we'll have these showers moving through with the rain amounts relatively light. We're talking most spots less than a quarter inch, and certainly at most a half inch, I believe, in most Piedmont locations. High pressure briefly builds in tonight and tomorrow. We'll drop into the 30s tonight. Tomorrow, upper side of the 50s with lots of sunshine. Tomorrow, pretty nice day, maybe one of the better days of the week. And then we'll be going out to Wednesday. And here comes that low pressure. Notice Tuesday, tomorrow, it's near the upper Texas coast at 1 in the afternoon. Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., that low pressure strengthening near Meridian, Mississippi. We'll briefly have in situ cold air damming, as we'll see that dry air in place initially, probably dropping toward the upper 30s to low 40s for lows Wednesday morning. But that's quickly going to get scoured out as we'll see that low pressure really cranking as it moves up into the Ohio Valley. The southerly wind fields are just screaming with this as it approaches. And let me show you some of the parameters. This is valid 7 o'clock Wednesday evening. Surface low is in Ohio. Up in the upper levels of the atmosphere here, this is a look at the chart for 250 millibars. This is high up in the lower part of the atmosphere. And you're looking at a couple of very significant jet streaks here. Nice diffluence in the upper level jet pattern there, moving through the mid-Atlantic into the northeast at 500 millibars. Pretty significant short wave approaching from the west and at 850 millibars. I know this may be tough to see, but there's your low pressure and the wind field's just screaming. We're talking 50, 60 plus knot winds up at 850 millibars across the region by Wednesday evening. So, what does that mean? Well, we'll see dew points rising. This is a look at the GFS dew points, valid 7 in the evening. The yellow shading there that's covering the Charlotte, Triad, and Triangle areas. That's where you're getting dew points in excess of 60 degrees. The orange shade, that's 64 degree dew points creeping into parts of Charlotte. And the result, let's switch over to the NAM model. This is the instability. The value is not terribly impressive, but you are certainly seeing some CAPE, or convective available potential energy there with this system. And finally, another severe weather parameter, the energy helicity index, begins to creep up to some fairly concerning levels in central and eastern parts of the Carolinas by late Wednesday and into Wednesday night. So, what we'll see happen, first of all, let's go back to this chart. Wednesday, we'll see rain pushing in. Some of the rain can be heavy, and then as the atmosphere gets unstable, I'm increasingly concerned about thunderstorms Wednesday night into Thursday morning. I think severe weather is going to have to be closely monitored with this system. A lot of the parameters you look for these late fall, early winter severe weather events are in place with this system. So this is going to be a concern we'll closely monitor for you later Wednesday and Wednesday night. To make sure your NOAA weather radios are ready to go in the event we do have a severe weather event unfold coming up late Wednesday and Wednesday night. Then behind that system, a big switch to colder weather. Here's Thursday morning, the system sweeping out. Thursday, we're probably still in the 50s for high temperatures, but watch what happens here. This is Friday, 1 in the afternoon. A lot of cold air diving down into the Gulf of Mexico, into our area. Friday looks like a day with 40s for highs, a lot of sunshine. Saturday, same deal. 40s for highs. We'll see 20s for lows Saturday morning in the Piedmont. Sunday will still be pretty chilly, although we'll warm up toward the lower 50s, still 20s for lows. It looks like Sunday morning, and maybe even Monday morning as well, some 20s for lows. Now, where do we go from there? Obviously, this is a significant blast of cold air to end this week. All right, again, here's this chart I like showing. European model on the left, GFS on the right. And this is a look at the average of the day 8 to 10 500 millibar chart, the upper air chart. And a very significant amount of ridging here. and parts of Alaska and extreme northwestern Canada. But the problem here, if you're looking for sustained cold in the eastern part of the country, is this really the ridge being undercut by troughing from the eastern Pacific into the western United States here on both the GFS and the European. Now, what happens in this pattern? Let me show you. This is the European all the way out to the end of the run, 240 hours. And yeah, there's that trough diving near the west coast underneath that big ridge over Alaska. So the result is, I think the colder air probably really pours into the western U.S. Once we get past our cold snap here to end this week. Here's the GFS. You can sort of pick that out. There's the cold air in the central and western U.S. This is all the way out to the 10th of December, 7 in the morning. But there's so much cold air that should be pouring into North America that I think eventually it just has to push into our area. So it may be the sustained or overall cold pattern may be delayed a little bit. Certainly, let me sort of lay this out for you. I think the end of this week is going to be cold, no doubt about it. But as we get into next week, it may be sort of mild-ish for a while, but I think eventually just there's so much cold air around, it's going to pour into the southeastern U.S. It's just the west may see this a pretty cold period first before it spreads into the eastern and southern part of the country. But I do think it's going to get here eventually as we go into maybe the second week of December, as there's just so much cold air. It almost has to eventually get here, and I do think it will. But certainly there's some uncertainty with the exact timing and exactly how things are going to play out. So a lot on our plate. It's going to be a very interesting weather week. I'm concerned about Wednesday's severe weather potential and certainly some heavy rain potential there as well. And then it looks very cold as we get into the end of this week. So a lot to watch. Thanks for watching this edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Enjoy your Monday, and a new video will be posted tomorrow morning. Have a great Monday, and God bless.